All right, so I'm gonna continue on the watering. And actually my head came off of this one. But this is what I use. These little mini sprayers. So I've got 2 of them on this tree. So since I'm on a slope, the sprayers are on the upper part of the slope so that the water will drain down and supply all the roots. So in the summertime, about once a week, I turn these on for about 1 or 2 hours. And a young avocado like this one that's only about 6 feet tall will need somewhere around 5 to 10 gallons a week. So you can figure that out by maybe using a 5-gallon bucket. Use one of these and make it fill up the bucket and see how long it takes to fill up that 5-gallon bucket, and that'll give you an idea how long you need to leave your water on. So I really don't need the water right now, February 15th today, but I'm just doing this to show you guys. There's the Fuerte, it's getting sprayed nicely. And under the mulch over here at about the drip line is the farthest reaching area of the branches. So that would be like right in this area. There's one gallon per hour dripper there. And there's another 1 gallon per hour dripper between the Fuerte and the reed, which is right over there. And then same thing, actually all of them have 2 extra drippers under the wood chips. But the main one is the sprayer. As you can see, it does a pretty nice job. I'm going to show you over here with the papaya, because it's more open over here. You can see it's wetting about 3 feet around the trunk of the papaya plant. And then on this one, I have a 3-inch drain pipe. It goes down about 2 feet, and I have a sprayer for this tree, but I also could put one in here. Like if I wanted to really deep water it, I could just leave this one right here and it'll get the water straight down into the roots. So this is a good method to use if you're on a really steep slope or something. If you're on flat ground, then when you first plant your avocado tree, you should do like a burm. A burm probably like where my little this wire is, you know, a berm maybe that much around your avocado tree, about a 3 or 4 inch tall berm, and you can water it with the hose, you know, fill up the berm 2 or 3 times a week. When you first plant a avocado tree, you really got to make sure it stays hydrated for a couple months, you know. And you should be planting your avocado tree in the springtime. Don't plant it in the winter time, of course, because if it frosts and your tree is just trying to get established, it won't be good. You can plant an avocado tree in the middle of the summer here in Southern California, but it's a little bit more work because you're gonna have to be keeping a really good eye on it. You're gonna have to put enough shade cloth over it to keep it protected from the intense sun. You're gonna have to water it quite a bit more, so it's gonna be a little harder to get it established. But if you plant it in the springtime, early spring, you know, after any frost danger, then it's gonna be a little easier. So let's say you plant it at the beginning of April. Well, that whole month of April and May, you're gonna have to keep it well hydrated so those roots grow and establish a little bit before the heat comes. But you know, after a couple months, then you can back off a little bit and maybe water it twice a week for that first season. But then next season, once the tree's more established, then maybe you can water once a week. But make sure you have plenty of mulch around the bottom of your tree, just like this. It's got about 6 inches. It'll keep that moisture in better, and it'll provide nutrients for your tree, and it'll improve the quality of your soil. Another good idea is if it's really getting hot, like I said, if I water once a week, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off now. And it's nice having a system like this where you could just go and turn off one valve and you're done. I've got the 1/2 inch plastic hose running all around this area. So with just one valve, I can control, I probably have about maybe 30 or 40 trees in this area here. So like I said, I water about once a week during the peak of the summer, but in between that week, I can come over here with the hose and just lightly soak the area so that the feeder roots don't completely dry out, so that they have a little bit of moisture all the time, but not soggy, wet soil. You don't want that. If those feeder roots stay semi-moist all the time, it's gonna keep them happy. The tree's gonna look happy, and it'll be off to a better start. So another thing you have to look into is protecting them from sunburn. Okay, right here, this tree, if we look that way towards the sun, it's winter time, so the tree is a little bit more south right now. The sun is a little bit more south, so it is baking this tree in the afternoons, but it's not as intense right now because it's winter time. But come summertime, when the sun is coming, you know, directly over us right here in the afternoon, these banana plants are actually gonna provide some afternoon shade for my avocado tree, my lamb haws. And that's exactly why I planted these bananas right here on this spot. So I'm gonna harvest that rack up there in the next couple of months. So this plant I will cut down, but by that time this pup, I mean, it's already a little bit taller than the avocado tree, I believe, but this pup will then be the one protecting my avocado tree. But the fuerte is an open avocado tree, so this one you really need to protect from the sun. Even here in San Diego, see, it's got a lot of exposed tissue. You can paint it with interior white latex paint diluted 50-50 with water. There's also some products you can buy that, you know, are green or brown so it doesn't stand out so much, and you just paint or put the product on all the exposed areas. But what I did with this one for the last couple seasons is I just put a couple, like 4 stakes around it, and then I covered it with shade cloth. But this coming up season, I'm not sure if I'm gonna cover it again or not. It depends on how much new growth it puts out, because after the flowering, then it'll put out new growth. So you can kind of see in the middle of all these flowers right there is the new growth that's going to come out. So if it flushes out a lot and it hides most of its exposed areas, like here, then I might not cover it. So I have to wait. Varieties like the reed that are very dense and compact, see, I can hardly see any exposed tissue. All I see is leaves. See, I see a little bit right here maybe. But this reed tree protects itself very well. Reed is one of the best tasting varieties also, and it's one of the best self-pollinators. So if you can only have one tree, reed is a good choice. And it's a good choice for limited space also, because it's a upright grower, so it'll save you some space. The Mexicola is one of the hardier, cold hardy varieties. It could also take the heat really well, so it's definitely one of my favorites. I'm really happy I got this Mexicola because it requires very little care compared to the others. I didn't have to protect it from the sun. I didn't have to stake any of the branches up. It's always looked good. It's growing a lot. I like its growth habit. It's not compact, but it's not too crazy widespreading either. It's right in between. Once again, it's a medium-sized tree. So the seedling, I didn't have to protect. Seedlings are a little tougher in my experience. It didn't show any signs of sunburn or anything. It's been doing good through the winter time. So remember, choose the right variety for your situation. Plant the tree right. Don't plant it too deep. Don't add too many amendments. If your soil's good, don't add anything. And protect them from the sun. And if you're in a cold place, you got to protect them from the cold. Now the last thing I want to do is I want to show you what fertilizer I'm using right now. So let's go check that out. So I've used the fertilizers from Home Depot, like the citrus and avocado fertilizer, but I have several avocado trees, so I would have to buy a few of those bags, and they're kind of pricey. So I go to Grand Ghettos. I just recently found this one. It's 100% organic. It's a 12-12 2.5. So it's made out of seabird guano. So it's a pellet fertilizer, and it dissolves fairly easily after a few hand waterings, or after a couple heavy rains. It'll dissolve and it'll start feeding your tree. Just the last one I wanted to show is my haws. Oh, by the way, I fertilize about twice a year, in the spring and then maybe like in July. That's the haws right here. This one's fully loaded. These are the traditional avocados you find at the grocery store. Well, anyways guys, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments, and check the description, because I'll probably forget something and I'll just add it in the description. Thank you guys.